Alrighty, Piss Week runners, we are here. The Ultra Trail Australia 100 in Katoomba. It's going to be a long day. A lot of people, music pumping. Still a bit dark, although the sun's starting to appear. Not cold. Relatively calm. We'll see what it's like in the mountains. So, get those knees up. We're looking at about half an hour before I start group 2 at 6:25. Main peeps will kick off at 6:20, so we'll be able to chase a few of them down. Let's have a look around here. Here's the start. It's the start line. First goal is to finish. That's part one. And after that, we look for ideally under 12 hours. That would be nice. If not, whatever. Main goal. Three goals, I guess. One's to get a UTMB qualifier, Western States qualifier, and to get into start group 1 for the following year. Start up with the group where I intend on finishing. I'll see how we go. I'll let you know how I am out on the course. And it's all happening. UTA 100k here in Katoomba.
Oh, it's Ashley reporting this week running world. Well, coming in towards about 57k. Oh, yeah, this course is brutal, absolutely brutal. This is checkpoint 4. So many stairs. That's okay. I'll check in later.
Alright, runners, this is my post-run video for UTA 100. Finally got round to doing it. Well, that course, what can you say? Absolutely brutal. It's certainly a course that the descriptions and even hearing from others, course elevations, maps don't really do it a whole lot of justice. They certainly help, but until you actually do that course, you don't realise how tough it is. Overall, it's fantastic, unbelievable views, trails, climbing, you name it, it's got it all. But I certainly hadn't prepared myself well enough to do that in the time that I thought I was capable of doing it in. Looked at sub 12. By the time I got through probably the second checkpoint, about 31 and a bit K, thought there's no way that's happening, maybe 13 and a half, 14. And as the day went on, it just got further and further out. Got to have a big shout out to early on in this piece to Tom Landon Smith and as the race director and all of the volunteers. I think there was somewhere between 450 and 500 people who have donated their time to UTA over the course of the weekend. Big shout out to those people. Some of them who were out there at all hours. Certainly saw later in the piece, after about 95k or so, people with the big old oil drums filled with firewood and that, setting up camp for the runners who are going to be there all night. So unbelievable, those people, unbelievable. It doesn't happen without them, and they're not tied down to having to do it, but they want to, and that's amazing. Certainly give you a sort of quick rundown of how I thought things went. Certainly the first 5 or 6k is relatively flat. Once you get down towards the bottom of where the scenic railway goes, that's when it starts going single track and you start climbing a bit. I found that there was a lot more walking involved. Certainly you walk more because of the climbs. You try and conserving energy. I found myself following a lot of what the other runners did. So if they were walking, I was walking. If they were running, I was running. But some of those climbs early, so people have got some amazing stair climbing skills and rock climbing skills, because they were wanting to fly past me in areas where I thought, nah, can't possibly go any faster in these bits. But that's one of the good things that comes out of this too, is that you let people pass, they let you pass. Everyone's talking to each other, finding out how they are. If someone looks like they're in trouble, you ask them, people asking you. The amount of support that's out on that course is unbelievable. It's certainly, you wouldn't see that in a track race, a half marathon, fun run. Like, the amount of support from not only your fellow runners, but the crowds, the volunteers, everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, they're all cheering you on and helping you out and asking questions and talking to you and helping you as much as possible. I've never seen that outside of ultra running. In all the racing I've done. Sort of getting through the first couple of checkpoints. So we're looking at 11.4. That was pretty good. I actually talked to a runner a bit later in the next leg through to 31 a bit, and he'd asked me if I'd done this course before. I said, no, haven't done it. And he says, well, you're going to be in for a bit of a treat between the fourth and fifth checkpoints. So between 57 and 78k. And he said, basically it's all stairs. I went, oh, okay. Didn't think too much about it at the time, but, kept going along, go through 31. I think you get a bit more of a shock once you get through 46. So 46 is your first major. They do a gear check. We got asked for the rain jacket and headlamp. It was all good, went through there. You hit the 6-foot track course, but there's a set of stairs once you've gone through 52, 53k, I think it is, at Nelly's Glen. And that, I had to stop a couple of times going up that. The lung capacity had sort of gone through the roof. That's a steep section to go up towards along the top there before you start peeling your way along, and it eventually comes out to a road section when you head in towards the 57k checkpoint 4 mark. You'll see earlier in this piece that I did a bit of footage once I was about half a k along that road. My legs were killing me at that stage. I've never seen so many stairs in my entire life, and it was only going to get worse. Because once you come out of checkpoint 4, you've come out of the aquatic centre / basketball stadium. You head down the road, you go across a single track of grass for a while. That comes out. Back across where the main start sort of area is. And you head out the other side, and you go from about 60k, you start bombing down the other side of the hill. There's so many, you go straight down the giant stairway and that down into the forest. And then there's a fair bit of climbing back up the other side. I was starting to lose it from that point. I thought, once I got through to there's a water point around 65, 66k, I think it was. Might have been a little bit after that. But I was really hurting by that stage, and I have to be honest, there was a couple of points in that stage where with the amount of up and down stairs and the way I was feeling, I could have cried. I could have broken down. By that stage, it was all just mental toughness, trying to keep yourself mentally strong to be able to keep pushing on. Because once you get through that sort of mountainy section and you come up through, there's a last little bit of a climb before you hit a road section. Another main open fire trail just before 75k. Once you get through there, you've got a pretty good run for the next 3.5k through to the fifth checkpoint at 78k. It was actually just after that, when you hit the road section, that by that stage I think it was about 5:10 in the afternoon, and in those sorts of areas the sun runs out pretty quick. So they were saying, put your safety vest on, so they help you do that. You run down the road in safety vest. Bloke probably another kilometre down the road ran with me for a little bit. We had a bit of a joke, a bit of a laugh. Said it was a couple of k to the next checkpoint, and it went dark quick after that. I reckon within about 300 or 400 metres it went from light to dark, and the only lights you had were the cars going up and down the road there. They were all tooting the horns, calling out. It was quite good. They had a whole bunch of neon lights and people dancing and fires and lights and stuff down at the 78k check mark. That was good, and you knew once you got there, you had a bit of a clear run for a little while. You go relatively flat, so I was jogging with a few other runners, seeing how we were going, how we were going to tackle the last bit of the course. Got through 80k, and then you sort of do a lot of downhill where you can sort of open up a bit, but your quads are generally trashed. Then there's a whole lot of walking back up the hill. once you've bottomed out, there's a whole lot of going up and up and up and up. It just keeps going up until you get sort of around the 40 something K mark. Not 40K. What am I saying? Bit after 90K. So there's a aid station you get to at about 91 and a bit K, which is sort of your last point on the course to be able to pick up any supplies that you need, food, water, because there's a couple of steep sections just after that which you just head out and you just walk. They were quite good at that section there. They helped me fill up my drink bottles and that. I think there was 4 or 5 athletes I remember who had got to that point and they were done. One guy didn't look overly great. The other 4 didn't look too bad from what I thought. But you thought, gee, you got to 91.2, 0.3K and that was it. Like, you thought so close to the finish and you'd been out there for 14 hours. But if you can't finish, you can't finish. But it just felt so bad for them. So punted along for a little bit longer. Once it got to 95K-ish, that was where you saw the last of sort of helpers for a while. They'd setting up camp there for the night. All the cameras were still set up, so they didn't have the photographers out. They just had it on auto when you hit certain points. I don't know what the deal was with just under 5K to go, but seriously, someone must have run the hose down that mud hill, or down that hill, because there was no way there was that much water in that area. It was, put it this way, you're up to your ankles in mud for probably a good 50 metres, trying to go back up this section into sort of single track back through the forest again. There's 2 of us who couldn't believe it, but anyway, we sort of got along there. Sort of feel the 50K is still out at that point, which is like, gee, they've been out for a long time. They were turning over around 13 hours themselves, and they were still within the last 3 or 4K. Certainly upbeat. At that point, they were all helping each other out. One guy said to me, he says, "Oh, you only got a couple of K to go and then the stairs." And I went, "Oh, yeah, thanks for telling me." He's like, "Oh, that's what I'm here for." I went, "Oh, well, someone's got to do it. Might as well be you." He said, yep. So, continued along, caught a couple of other runners, and once you hit the Fuba stairs at the end, people think, oh, it's all, that last set of stairs is tough, and it is, I can tell you. When you've done 99 and a bit K to that point, to go straight up the side of a mountain, you do get breaks. It's not just all stairs all the way up. There's a couple of bits where you run around to another stair section. I actually think the stairs at Nelly's Glen, in the 50-something K mark, is tougher than the last set of stairs. Having said that, the last set of stairs the last kilometre took me 20-something minutes, 25 minutes or something to. But once it levels out, and then you head down the finish chute to the finish, and there's a few of us at the same time. I actually saw one bloke who was I'd seen a lot earlier in the day. We'd sort of gone back and forward for probably 50, 60K earlier in the piece. I'd been named Slippery Shoes from him. There's a side story to that. The trail shoes I was wearing, the Adidas Canadian 7s, they were at end of life. To take on that sort of course, I was sliding all over the place. There's a lot of dry sections on the course where the leaves, you under normal circumstances you could bomb down them and that, but as far as where your foot strikes, I didn't have any grip left in them. They were sort of dead. But no, they survive. One of the good parts on the course, I thought, when you go along Iron Pot Ridge, it's just after, I think it's around 33, 34k. That's where they've got the didgeridoos and the sticks and playing and all that. And those guys are out there for hours. Sorry, playing the music and cheering people on and that. And that's an interesting section of the course too. That's where the out and back is. So they talk about a 250 odd metre out and back section, and it's only single track. So, and you've got people trying to go both ways. So you end up running along the top of a rock face section, which is quite dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Overall, fantastic course. I certainly, from my own experience, hadn't prepared myself for something as brutal as that. Never been on my feet running wise for more than about 12 hours. So to be out there for 15 hours, 20 minutes and 29 seconds on my feet was a brand new experience. Will I do the course again? Absolutely. Probably not next year. I've got a couple of events that I want to try out. One I'm trying again. The other one will be the Sri Chamoy 100, or I think it'll be 104k by the time I end up doing it. So we'll see how next year plans out with all those. But yes, certainly an event I'd recommend. I've never seen an event organised as well as this one was, and yeah, it's just a big credit to everybody involved on how well it's organised and planned, and everyone just is so knowledgeable and is prepared to help out. So I'll definitely be back, and to take that on again. I think now that I've done the course, I know how to tackle it a bit better. Probably knock an hour or two off, maybe. Who knows? It's very unpredictable. But you know, as you see at the start of this video, I throw words out there like grueling, torture. You know, cruel, painful, but overall it's amazing fun. So yeah, I mean, get out and do it if you're ready. So next event for me at this stage is 7th of August, Centennial Park Ultra in Sydney. I'll take on the 100k in that too, and that should be pretty good. Doing laps on a dirt track, and yeah, so looking forward to that, and the Stromlo 50 later in the year, and then big plans again for 2017.